Anyway, on to this week's Smallville episode, Eternal. Initially, I thought this was just another filler episode because, for me, all it accomplished was making Doomsday stronger. Because now he's immune to getting blown up and immune to kryptonite.
Hmm. That's what you think it
So
was about?
that's pretty much what it accomplished. And
I thought it was a really good episode. I think it showed Davis in an even more sympathetic light. And it just reaffirms my idea that I like Davis's character more than I like Clark's character.
no, I liked Chloe. Not Chloe. I mean, I liked Clark in this episode, minus the ending, because throughout the episode he was pretty defensive, especially when Chloe was defending, Davis, and and Clark was like, come on, man. He literally told you about a dark side within. You didn't. You think that wouldn't have
Well, no,
rung
she
the
just
bell?
didn't assume that he meant serial killer.
Yeah, but then she came up with like a lame excuse.
I don't know. I don't think it was lame. She didn't think he was a serial killer. That's all.
Yeah, and she really does. She dumped Jimmy pretty quickly. And,
No, she was getting. Well, first of all, Jimmy dumped her, not the other way around.
yeah, I know, but she got over it real quick. And even Clark mentioned it.
I don't think
That
she
kind of
got
came
over
on
it.
pretty fast.
I don't think she got over it. I just think that
And when
she
she was,
didn't want to think about it anymore.
yeah, and when she was explaining it to Davis, she said, just friends. Our friendship wasn't really. I'm like, lady, you married the guy, and you're just considering it friends. Like,
No,
I don't know.
she didn't really love
I
Jimmy.
know from being watched.
She actually did love Davis, not Jimmy.
Yeah, I mean, but going from being the Watchtower at the end of Hex into this episode, she's going back and forth here. I mean, she's all over the place.
How do you mean?
I don't know. I just didn't find Chloe likable in this episode.
Oh, I didn't think she was bad.
Mm.
I wasn't bothered by
And in the ending, which Clark, when he throws away the picture of the Naman and Sagith, Kawachi picture into the fireplace, and he's like, "Oh, there wasn't much of a fight." At first, initially, it was like him being naive.
Well, there was also, you're ignoring a major Mercy storyline that was going on. Basically,
Well, yeah.
her revelation that Clark is the Traveler and that there was another.
Clark-
And she made an interesting realization, which I think she might be correct in, is that if Clark never faces his ultimate challenge, he'll never take that leap into becoming like a Superman.
Mm-hmm.
So he needs this Doomsday. That's why she doesn't do anything about Doomsday. Davis when she finds out.
Yeah.
She just had to be sure that it was Davis, which it was or
Yeah.
is. So I mean, when he says that it wasn't much of a fight, look what happens to him now. He never gets to become Superman right now.
Yeah.
He's just kind of on the blur that sometimes shows up, sometimes
Yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah.
So he's not that symbol that they need. So that's not going to last. Doomsday's coming. So.
But just because he said that line, it's a case of irony, because we know what's going to happen in the end.
Foreshadowing,
Yeah.
a little wink to the audience, but he really is.
Yeah.
Coming back.
Yeah, but talking about the beginning of the episode where they flash back to the first meteor shower, and using some of footage from season 1 of the Kents and Lionel Luthor, and some new shots with Davis coming out of the cocoon thing, or whatever it was, the rock or whatever, and emerging from the slime and stuff.
Oh yeah, I like those childhood things, and when they tied in Lex, because he was a playmate of Lex.
Yeah, and they used the actor who played Alexander in season 7.
Yeah, it was good though. I enjoyed that kind of continuity. Also, it's always good to see kind of a Luthor tie-in.
Yeah.
But then how brutal when he was just gonna dump the kid on the street, and then
Yeah.
they turned into a mini Doomsday.
No, it seemed
was
like
it full grown?
no, it was the full grown. It was just
Weird.
the human side that was still evolving.
Right. So he was Doomsday when he killed those guys.
Yeah. And
How heartless. That was
so I guess
cool
we found
moment,
Alexander not so annoying as he was in Descent. Because when we were reviewing Descent, we were talking about he was annoying.
No, I didn't mind him in this one at all.
Yeah.
He had allusions to a lot of allusions to religion in this episode.
Yeah, there were a lot of biblical
There was
references.
a direct comparison between Superman and Jesus in this one.
And Judas and
Yeah, I was like, that's
which
more than I was expecting.
which I'm claiming is Chloe because she ultimately, locked the door at the end, where Davis didn't die from the shower kryptonite.
Well, she does love him.
Yeah.
But I don't think she was betraying him. I don't think she was betraying Clark. He said that if she stayed with him, he would never become Doomsday. So she stayed with him so that Clark's life would never be in danger.
I don't know. It seems to me that Davis is manipulating Chloe because remember in
he pretty much is like blackmailing her now.
Yeah, because in Turbulence when he made Chloe believe that Jimmy was crazy when in fact he wasn't.
He was just an asshole.
Yeah.
I hate Jimmy in that show. I'm sorry. I'll always side.
Well, I'm just saying,
Jimmy.
Davis's plan went off without a hitch. Because,
But
Jimmy found out.
It was more than just him. Like, he didn't orchestrate their marriage failing. Their marriage failed. He was just there. I don't think he's the one that designed their marriage to fail. Those two did it themselves. Chloe was lying to him all the time.
Yeah.
And Jimmy was, like, always trying to figure out what. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that was Davis's plan. Davis did help it, though.
Yeah, but
he liked Chloe.
But in Turbulence, Jimmy had a point. He was trying to get Chloe to believe in him, and she just didn't listen and
no, not at all. I was like, ouch. Yeah. Well, if you didn't have any proof that someone was a serial killer, and you were their friend for months and months, or maybe years, you wouldn't believe it either.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. She didn't believe it.
Yeah, and before she tasered Jimmy, she thought that Jimmy was gonna, attack Davis, because he had him handcuffed, to the fence and stuff. But anyway, going back onto this episode, a lot of people are on the fence about it. It's either you like it or you hate it, because on the hate side of it, most people consider this a retcon episode, because it rewrote some of the history of the show.
I don't think it rewrote it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it added.
Yeah, exactly. I think it added to it.
Yeah, it didn't change anything. Well, I think the only thing...
How could it change it? They still use the same freaking footage.
Yeah, but I think the only thing they changed about it was, Davis being, in the crater, where Clark's ship was. And a small nitpick, right after, the Kent scene to, leave the site, Lionel's henchmen, run over and say, "Well, we found him!" And he runs away. You think the Kents would have heard that?
They'd already driven off.
No, because they were walking away, and then the next shot was, Davis looking over, and then the guys come over the hill, there he is. So I just had to point that out.
I don't know.
And in the flashback where Davis meets Lex for the first time, I'm assuming that happens while Lionel is, signs Clark's adoption papers and, tricks the Kents.
He even said that. My dad's at a farm right now.
Yeah, so... Yeah,
so he snuck in to see him. Obviously, he wasn't supposed
to. I'm just explaining, how this fits into the timeline. Yeah, and killed Lex's bird. Kind of similar to how Doomsday, in the comics, emerges from the earth and, a bird lands on his hand and he squishes it.
Very reminiscent. Good pickup.
Yeah, I'm the only one that caught that. Because I haven't read anybody else picking that up.
Yeah, I think that they're giving their propers to comic sources.
Yeah, and the climax of the episode is Davis trapped inside a kryptonite, cage, similar to the one from season 7, but slightly different. It's smaller and sprays kryptonite instead of power surges.
But I feel like it was meant to be the same facility.
Yeah.
Because where else were they going to get that cage that could do that?
Yeah. For budget reasons, they couldn't make a new one. Right. Because it seemed to me it
makes sense story-wise, though.
Yeah. Yeah, so Davis tries to commit suicide because he thinks, when in his youth, when he was sword fighting with Lex, that his exposure to kryptonite, hurt him, and he decides to do it again, which I have to question. He was already exposed to kryptonite in his youth, so why would the kryptonite affect him again? I know
it wasn't long enough to kill him.
Yeah, I know it was a
didn't
small
kill him.
amount, but
That's why he's only immune to what kills him the first time.